Yeah, Baba. Yeah, Baba. It's neat.
Como non ne sa nyo fe, como subande hiaboe nyo kon, ka kono nyo nyemiyo, yecheni, kayo shekuwa kamale bele yamli, ka nyemya kafo nyuma, bowofo, kayo shekuwa kamale bele yamli. Anyami mene no niona, ani esoye, kako nyobi, kanjuni.
Hello, Timofemo yo te mi pe mo fe mo kan ba ni tete TV oyi wala don wa de nche ake ofebe ni mele nwe boli oba fe part 3 the Agyapadeɛ document part 3 jino no oba fe ne wo fe part 1 magic be te nye wo fe part 2 mene wo fe part 3 nke bo ake 38 pages on aboni nchon I think ake so far wo she page number 20 ni evaluate some of the interesting things, like I'm saying, interesting things. Look, like I said, there have been quite a few people I may feel like this is a work of fiction ni femina because only keji wolone ejekpo nye abigi kemiake ejekpo in 2020 before then moko kemiake original one but in 2016 ni 2020 and update le so keji update le in 2020 on a boni journey where 2024 ni wonaka some of the things ni awe as far back as 2020 na can be mbami amontone then make all this whole idea of it being fiction a little fishy on a boni journey because look, I don't know how ni mohobangma noko ni obana ne eba play out the same way on a bonincho like I mean ke prophecy ni benue moni kasini agena gani achonle mo mufoni yo na dawa, and that is why I do not believe this is a work of fiction on a bonincho because keji okwano ni ya no fe like I'm saying keji o ka ni ne angmala in 2020 4 years after Nagma Wolue, Nibi ni yo mi one na, then it's quite something. On a bonicho. So I don't think it's fiction. No, this is the plan. I may execute le pepe ni boale MPPB ako you know back in fiction. There is no way ni obakwano ni ya no e Ghana. Ni obakwano ni yo Wolue mi. Ni obaka ke ne mokotashi ne nganoko keke. On a boninchon ni many or abote some of the nibi koma me the way now me planning and bafe easier and this I mean a whole lot of stuff no ba ke ya no the way ni anma wolu ni ya no ya won no ni won na ni nka wa ke fiction I don't know beni nuni yo wolu ani one na ya won pepepe we can see everything play out exactly the way ni yo wolu ani. It is playing out exactly the way no you will me. So I find it very, very hard. I find it extremely hard on a bonichon to believe Akeshi this is a work of fiction. Oh no, it's unbelievable. It play out the same way that I mean look, I was a literature student in general arts. Your secondary school. I mean, I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books. And it's a work of fiction. Please. It's unbelievable. Ni kwa part 3 na wabo nkane mo amonto na mabo nkane mo mabwe oba na ke mene menke ame ya bani ni wolu ejekpo na ame ywe no fe no na me ba ywe na me ke kovale ni Ghana bi akaye no ni yo wolu amieye na ake ameyintone Onum shishi. So inka UAP and wachano. The political terrain noji any washe ni wabakandi kwamo. Again, as we make the final push for the EC registration, but it is important to roll out our final onslaught to ensure that the NDC eventually becomes a fringe party. Whereas we do not expect the Electoral Commissioner herself to blatantly cripple the NDC, we will deploy the other non-EC functions, such as the need to maintain law and order, using our people within the security agencies to frustrate NDC supporters from either registering or voting. Brian Champo would be key in this endeavor. So, it is playing out. And then you guys come and you tell me this is fiction. It play out exactly. No. I frustrate the registration process. Brian Champo hand you over NDC. Brian Champo. Before then, we must have critical evaluation of our strengths and weaknesses in order to be well positioned for the task ahead. So there is no way. Look, they don't expect the Electoral Commissioner herself to blatantly cripple the NDC, but they will deploy other non-EC functions such as the need to maintain law and order, using our people using our people within the security agencies. So I'm a third group say. Now police for atale ke soldier for atale na me ke wo me fact say ni ame ya ni ama bamo me klante na ma jo me registration center say na bon registration one name na bon registration they are going to any NDC come on na me fe. So there is no way ni ne ke no ko ba ya no ba ke mi ake it's a work of fiction. The party, any share, the party, Nakanji heading any your Jemmy. Come on. Again, the youth and women's wings of our party remain our weakest link. Every effort must therefore be made to get our national organizer to fill in the gap. Baby, Nanabuachi Henry. Same applies to getting Esla to assist the women's wing. The substandard track on Nana Boachi, once again, you understand what I'm saying? You are telling me, Akeshi, this is a work of fiction. Me update in 2020. In 2020, Nana Boachi elege am a national organizer. In 2020, Nana Boachi elege am a national organizer. No. In 2020, Nana B elege am organizer. So take your turn and Manoko in 2020. And years down the line, no man me ba me pepe no kemiake and a jam ko je mo ne plan roko ne execute le the way ne tawo ne execute le. Come on, man. Seems to be a perfect description of who he is. Per the earliest assessment made by DM Oforiata and the co-writers of the August 2019 report, this is a tag we should actually shroud from his personal knowledge. In the meantime, we should keep up assurances of broad smiles towards him until he is gradually weaned from us. He pales into insignificance in comparison to Judge Opare Addo of the NDC. It is therefore important to avoid a one-on-one debate between our youth organizer and that of the NDC for the time being. At the time, Nana Boachi, Nana B was their youth organizer. Now, Kennedy Japan, come on now, Kennedy, come on. A very good asset. The party must, as a matter of need and plausibility, defend him going into the 2020 elections. He has the utmost control over our action troopers and all the former criminal former criminal elements who are purposed for the final push. So they believe, they know, they've accepted, they've recognized, they have criminal elements within their party. Ni Kennedy Japan, Jimoni control. Ben Yaka Kennedy Japan, a quack and a Delta Force, Bolly, le. Like I'm a chuoni. Honestly, his financing for the grassroots affirms our dire need of him at all costs in the 2020 elections. While conceding his magnanimity towards the base, his penchant for being a loose cannon in attacking persons who should be left alone is sometimes worrying. As a result, he must eventually be weaned off as our project reaps dividends to need less and less of his funding. His self-confessed unbridled quest for personal wealth is a potential threat to causing us to suffer needless exposure. It is important for a dossier to be prepared on him. Hey, no go 10 sins of Kennedy. Oh my goodness. And deliberately leaked through our friends in the opposition who will call for his prosecution. Colonel Opoku is to revise the 2016 plan and progress to his dossier for his purpose, but should not be filled under any official seals. So Kennedy, get ready. Kennedy Japan, get ready. Plan get ready. Obanwe. Samuel Wuku be an elegy CEO of the Lotteries Commission, I think. Ran as MP ya me mam ye law school na ngene jigbe tene get come on. Samuel Wuku is a very good material with excellent political prospects. His loyalty to Nana should be acknowledged to encourage him to repeat his 2016 efforts of getting to the grounds to mobilize the youth. It is imperative, however, to watch his seeming rift with John Opoku Nkrumah. Oh, so there is a seeming rift that the way I may put there between Samuel Wuku John Opoku Nkrumah. Interesting. His loyalty beyond the term of Nana cannot be guaranteed. Hence, the need to call all out and prop up Kojo Opoku Nkrumah in a subtle way. In Keboake, there is no way ni Obake Miake. This is a work of fiction. Lelewu Kojo Opoku Nkrumah ame properly up. Be an alleged minister for roads, works and housing. Be an Agyapadeɛ information ministry. Akaleba works and housing. Lelewu apusile. Government ni bi fi obanale. Kojo Opoku Nkrumah obanale. Onumshishi. It may be instructive to prepare pieces of information regarding his encounters with the women, which appears to be in excess in his case. It makes him vulnerable to blackmail as a national organizer and key campaign person. It is perhaps important to limit his access to the inner circle and condone him off gradually by introducing Mustafa Hamid during the final bouts of the campaign. This will in essence shield Nana from any damage arising from a leak of Sami's escapades. Sami Wuku a key point, however, is a much dangerous flirtation with the Akuffo camp, an aspect which raises serious questions regarding the need to contain him. So Sami Wuku sanejino ni ayue ye BNA eke John Kojo Opoku Nkrumah. John Buedu JB. It is perhaps not too good to admit publicly, but his performance has been short of all past general secretaries. So going forward, we should manage the level of competence which faces us as serious political party. His actions and inactions are a complete definition of wealth accumulation agenda. Hey. When they say lala. His blatant involvement in Galamsey in the Wasa, if found, could be an embarrassing state of affairs. The last report prepared by Dr. Akuffo affirms the fact, as well as the revelation about the monies he took from 183 candidates for government appointments. Wana, Lele, John Buedu Galamsey Kimpini. Fake Galamsey fe mo femo. Party mi fe Galamsey bi. No kokura be no ba yue. Ni moko bakpana. Unfortunately, his alcohol addiction and his weakness regarding women makes him hugely vulnerable. That notwithstanding, he has a rare talent to churn out crazy ideas which yield beneficial outcomes. He should only be watched and shepherded to hand over to much more competent person post the 2020 elections. He has very little to offer in the 2020 elections, and there is the need to import Ejaku, Papa Owusu Ankoma, and Kwabna Ejipon to paper over potential flaws coming out of his actions. The Rollins factor. Although not a party member, he has become very useful tool in the scheme of our affairs. Nana must be encouraged to maintain his relationship with him and ensure a firm grip of him to avoid any damage loose talk that may affect our chances. So far, his public comments have been favorable. So this was all part of the plan. The NDP, led by Nana Konedu, must be assisted to undertake its activities and to ensure they file and contest the 2020 elections. It is obvious that wherever votes will be garnered by the NDP will be votes that would otherwise have gone to the NDC. I'm proper small political parties. Plan. So small political parties no neighbor proper all of a sudden I'm in campaign I'm a posters can be a MPB and pure. MPB I'm a pure. Now make a weekend NDC I'm a pure. Now other minor political parties come be okay. Further to this, it is ultimately important to ensure we help reactivate and encourage the minor parties to contest. Many of their supporters have an antipathy towards the NDC. With some financial inducements to their polling agents, we could contract an understanding with them to shore up the number of pro-MPP polling agents at the polling stations. It is not negotiable to ensure that the LPG, the GUM, Ekwadonko, and GCPP are all cleared to contest. No, because by law, requirements ni electoral commission a bill then a political party ko bagmeno ni afo shikiano me qualify. All these parties I'm a qualify. I'm a bit branches. Yeah, all the 200 and something regions. I'm a bit executives. Yeah, all the 200 and something regions. I'm a bit party offices. Yeah, all the so these are requirements. The parties will be a fair. She MPB ball am machination say ni am force easier ni easier na me na me contest. Abache ma agba enwa agbe ni kwamo. Depending on the outcome of our next negotiations, the following parties could be eliminated by the Electoral Commission if they fail to agree to our proposition. Maverick Kofi Gane, Kofi Corentin, Akwesi Odike of the United Progressive Party, Kwesi Busumburu of the People's Action Party, New Vision Party, United Renaissance Party, and the UFP and the others who may also file. For the CPP, PNC, and possibly APC, they may be allowed to contest in order to shout the EC and our government of any wrongdoing. Religion and chieftaincy. Religion and chieftaincy. So look, every single aspect there, I'm a planning the way near me about work to their advantage. The Ghana population is largely made up of Christians. We must bear that in mind in all our activities. It is therefore essential for the government to take an interest in the relationship between the government and the church. It is further evident that a large number of discerning Ghanaians are not comfortable with the proliferation of mushroom churches and their activities. This is visible in the large support and commendations received by Kennedy Japan when he declared war on the church. So na kanoni Kennedy Japan ke asafo e ba faith. Government can easily capitalize on this and quickly come forward with a legislation to regulate these churches. Immediate examples include Rwanda and will bring an end to the vulnerable women who have suffered years of abuse at the hands of these mushroom pastors. These issues notwithstanding, it is important to identify and profile some church leaders within the country as they seem to perpetrate an agenda against our political party. So, software amelo software many me your MPP na mbanya mekechuni ke many me your NDC na sana akpata ameye. But they must be properly contained and muted. They must be properly contained and muted. So, software they must be properly contained and muted. Critically, Duncan Williams, his love for money is not in doubt, and material inducements and commercial gains make him vulnerable to market incentives. This means that he has a good nose for the highest bidder. His relationship with the leading member of the NDC is an open secret. It is therefore important to encourage the EC chair to build better relations and frequent is place as discreet as possible to seek spiritual directions and make firm pledges of a commitment to a transparent elections, knowing very well that he will further reassure the NDC establishment of the honesty of the EC system. This will give them the comfort we need in order to tame potential NDC aggressive posture towards the Electoral Commission. Bien egbele isha ko je me nkan ye fe nkan de we bien plan me plan je no go bi bio I am telling you it is Saturday these people amen. Unbelievable. No, I'm a Archbishop. It's more shika. There's more nibi papai. Ona boni chon. So I pompule na kainibi. A car pompule na kainibi. Aliaga ke John Mama e fine. No, about reassure John Mama. Na afọ EC Electoral Commission adu gweg blagaza. Afọ le chumo ke Duncan Williams ye. Ne assure la aka mba fe no ojugba. No ba ni NDC bi enwa ya wo miaka o EC aju show male yes akpata ni bi aye. Bishop Charles Agina Sari Leomina Keye Nyawakwa. Quite visibly, an NDC sympathizer who only appears to speak whenever MPP is in power. He must be watched carefully. Our men within his inner circle have done pretty well with accurate briefs, but it is time to adopt an open muscular approach. The respect and esteem with which he is held by other leading pastors may need to be marred by recruiting other high-staged pastors to launch vile attacks in some ingenious ways. However, the president must desist from directly respond to him as advised by our people within his inner circle. So I'm in Chono Wagameliaka Bishop Charles Agina Sarie le NDC nyoni. Ne sumo NDC wa ni le KMPP bi e batano pe ne ba sha me. So asana me kwele we inner circle me ni me boli le ko lo safo e ko ma lo asafo nu ko MPP bi ye mi na me ke information George me ke ba ha MPP party e. I may infiltrate we be in I shake by some crunchy and crack. He is perhaps even more visibly a surrogate of the NDC, who has cleverly concealed this aspect to appear as a national Christian hero. A constant eye, watch, and monitoring of this man is required with specific efforts to maintain his commercial interests, which have been identified. So I mean, Chono wage some crunchy and crale boli AGA pumping age. I mean le woman na like NDC she ekete ni esafombi na le akele for party. No amula me na akele we me ye boli ni bi akome no wa so abakwaje me hu na akwe ni akele. Ona alo akela kale. Pastor Misa Otabil, another big one. Even though sympathetic to us, so once again, I may admit that Pastor Misa Otabil, MPP, information suggests that the closure of bank capital has somehow affected his loyalty to Nana. Brother Ken Oforiate's account of his demeanor on the night before the announcement of the closure of Capital Bank indicates he was not too averse with our decision. The strategic The strategic implication of Ken meeting with the pastor and subsequent feedback from his inner circle points to the impression that he may, out of spite opt for an NDC replacement. Should that happen, it should be seen as a declaration of war by one of our own. We should be reminded that an insider fighting you is more dangerous than the sworn enemy. In any case, he appears to be more aligned with the Akuffo camp. Intelligent efforts should be adopted to rout his church following against his person. Should he defect, possible access to his personal assets, business interests, and potential relations with some women will need to be explored in finer detail. Hey, is that for Rona? MPP nyonishi na close a bank capital bank wo amena ke echie fio mo so le esumokufo faction e wa na okaji amena ke echie kra le bi asani amekwe na amekwe bona mba afi una ye asande ke ni bi ke business din ko me akwa ka ba nya choje me ni akpata ni bi ayin elo una boni nchon national chief imam bokono na awen ye national chief imam government must prepare an exit plan for the national chief imam. This has become necessary in view of the fact that the demise of his deputy has created a vacancy. The intense lobbying by the other Muslim leaders should be properly handled in the face of the promises we have made to each of them. So, chief imam, assistant, say, me name involved for I can post tell ajigba here am friend. Onake, this should tell you ake noni imam ko ba yu ake aka me pe na ha me fe 3000 jo no ko be nyiba aka wo fe na kan video ba o mi aka me fe meet na ya me ona ka no kwale aye am fe. The candidates for this should be well-verified party sympathizers who are likely to stand with the party in crucial circumstances, as has been with the current Ashanti regional imam. Nana has shown his love for the Zongo community by creating a Zongo ministry and establishing the Zongo Development Fund. This is both remarkable and historic in the annals of the political history of Ghana. By this singular act, Nana has taken bold steps towards breaking the NDC monopoly of the Zongos. This project is a must if we ever intend remaining relevant with the Zongos. Finally, cognizance has to be taken for elevating over 50 chieftains to paramountcy status. We need further elevations of such chiefs in redefining our very statute, for which the new uncelebrated old powerful kingdom is to be restored. It is very instructive looking at the broad coverage of Ibuakwa, Kotoku, and Bosome. We must critically guard against any such issues of the JSC Amegachi ruling of 2019. The national situation as regards to the media landscape. So biane abaywe wo media landscape plan ni akpata jeme fe nya wo kwa jeme no na meke. The media has remained The media has remained a veritable weapon in shaping public opinion and agenda setting strategy. We therefore have to wage an even more valiant war in pursuit of our grand scheme to capture and dominate the media landscape. And they've done it effectively. They did it in 2016. I'm a banon. Now I may fail effectively. If our overriding ambition is to be realized in this regard, we have to adopt a multi-pronged approach, while making sure that the critical mass of the nation would not connect the rapid media capture with us. Like one affair more. Journalists New York Ghana fe wale akenye ame fe ni pe ame fe wale ame fe. One affair more. There is no hiding this. There is absolutely no hiding this. One affair more. Phase 1. Common plan agbene. We envisage that the role of Kojo Opon Nkrumah, who was a former journalist, Kenya Bakaye 2016 EIA debate, one of the moderators, Bonaboninchon, formerly a 20-year Joy FM, I'm a morning show host. So apparently Ameliake MPP Nyoni all this while. We encourage that the role of Kojo Oppong Nkrumah would continue to be crucial in our quest to dominate the Ghanaian media landscape. He was super when planted around some big weights of the erstwhile Mills Mahama government, while at Joy FM, his secret recordings from the then ruling government illuminated our discussions and greatly influenced our strategy, which culminated in the landscape victory of 2016. So, Biamini Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, a chuani ye Joy FM, no nefione. A record of NDC secretly a MPP. No wonder that Gabi made every effort for the young man to be promoted to the office of a substantive information minister. This is more so when we cannot vouch for the credibility and loyalty of Dr. Mustafa Ahmed at crucial times. He, Mustafa, was the longest serving spokesperson of Nana, but we were shocked when Nana called him stealing campaign cash in such critical opposition era where we were suffocating from inadequate resources to prosecute the campaign. Oh, so no Mustafa Fini. Dr. Mustafa Aminu I'm Fini. So I'm a first time and I information minister. I feel Kojo Oppong Nkrumah deputy. Ni ajele eje mekete EPA bi aneleji EPA CEO. Na me jele keje EPA na me feel Kojo Oppong Nkrumah information minister. Okay, so this was the plan. It is now obvious that Mr. Nkrumah has an ultimate presidential ambition. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, really. We have a fiduciary duty to protect him and to assure him of our support for the future. The support will get him to commit to the media capture agenda. It is satisfying that he has been part of our manifesto drafting from 2012 till date. So all this while, ni Kojo Oppong Nkrumah e ran or show FM MPP nyokpana ni wale amefe obi Asempa FM o man ni John Mahama fele boni John Mahama fele ne amonto ne echo sen John Mahama MPP nyoni Kwame Sefa kan le board status I think EPA le a pay le Chicago agbe amemo Paul adu much le wale le MPP kale se kekpe so amemo femo yi I made him of fame. So Ghana media ni yojem. Ona no newo. Ona no ni ke NDC sane. Ona the way no na me tweet or NDC sane the way na me tweet ole. Ni ke MPP sane hu. Ona the way hu na me tweet ole. I'm a fame MPP be so happy me. Inu chuma na sana amechu ake media bi na me ke wa ma ame fe. In the next government 2021 to 2024, Gabi has already convinced Nana to move Kojo Oppong Nkrumah to the communications ministry to continue the clampdown on the opposition, as well as the not too friendly radio and television stations. He is already excited about this promise on two grounds. He would be deemed to remain one of the loyalists for the future. Secondly, that ministry as one of the richest, one of the richest, hence a conduit for him to increase his personal financial muscles for his presidential ambition. So total radio stations has a return now prepared documents 481. I make sure anything 5 foreign 21 campus 79 ameng ma fe ya bi achon fe ani wash bon Kojo Oppong Nkrumah and journalist come on. While our team aims at total dominance of the media architecture in the nearest future, there is the need to move a generally good appeal in the media to this end. To this end, we have observed that the discourse in the media has been generally fruitful. This has not happened by accident. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah has successfully recruited about 80% of top journalists, including some with adversarial tendencies towards us. His weekly covert meetings with them to plan the issues of the week have been exceedingly impactful. The roles of Kweku Baku lewale lomo Malik Kweku Baku lewale le eche je Kojo Oppong Nkrumah ba fele nakan Paul Adumochi Lotto Caster community Lotto Caster nakan asedun kete achole le nwole le ewo atale complete Kwame Sefa kan le nwole le And Obi of multimedia cannot be underestimated. One word na Obi bene jenshie mofemo buole wa adenche ke okwo bla nuwe waliaka mokoni eba chuni odogba ni esumo Ghana because Obi ye kashi shagbene ko kwe ni femo no kwe the way ne conduct our interviews with MPPB a studio the way ne ke NDCB deal or issues komeba je moko ba ke mene MPP nyok banani MPP nyomini banani. It is for this reason that Nana nearly sacked Kandapa for delaying the release of their monthly allowance of 1 million Ghana cedis. So bona, so Kweku Baku, Paul Adum Ochri, Kwame Sefa and Obi, that every month appear me 1 million cedis. Appear me 1 million cedis. Kwe Ghana ba yine. Ni we a journalist. Na me Henry Keshika every month their political party goody. Kwe eba yine. Instead of Nasa na me chuni Ghana bi koni ma ashwele ne ya no. Komo no na me fio kwe eba yine. Since the national security budget does not go through the normal scrutiny, this group has to be assured of an enhancement of their regular emolument in our next government on condition that they work hard for our anticipated victory in December. Bona Ghana, ke we journalist. The political party ko hear me. Na appear me 1 million cedis every month. Koko wo me bayi. Ni me na chef one na many fame TV no. One na ye ready one na many fame. Even without this document, but we know, we can tell. There is no objective person. I mean, practice journalism. Bonnie as an practice. You can tell, like they are in the pockets of the government. You can tell. Esla Owusu on closure of opposition media. So, media as I know what you are. Oh, no, me face. So, come on. Meye kayo ni Esla ba engamo Radio Gold pa FM Munte FM engamo amepi ame plan esoni botwe. We score Esla Owusu 70% for execution of the agenda to close down pro-NDC radio and television stations. While we praise her for closing media entities such as Radio XYZ, Capital Radio, Munte FM, and many more, she scores some low marks in the implementation of the strategy. We expected her to leave Radio Gold from the list for obvious tactical reasons. She could have waived their debt like she has done for our friendly stations such as Ash FM in Kumasi. She could have been fired for the avoidable backlash in strategy, but for a long-standing role as Nane's protege. Beuna. So radio station send me back, TV station send me closer me plan any. I shut opposition media down. Gonna me lose voice. Bolenche komo. Komo yibi ni webi ni ewu. Ni komo yibi na me ba ya no na me wu. No ni mi ke ba ke me ne ke wo fon shiki ya me. No ni wona no ko bi bi okulai. Me ne me ke wo fon shiki ha me. No ni wona nka mi ni bi bi okula. Phase 2 of media control. Hey, inte chon. Come on. There is no doubt that Joy 99.7 FM and the multimedia group will remain an industry leaders in the communication sphere of the country, while relying on them as a veritable ally. Anti-MPP agenda by some of their staff does not portend well for us. I don't know what that word is. We were left with no choice but to have used our boys to threaten Manasseh Azure Awuni. Wow. While his publications in the past inured to our political benefit, he has overstretched himself in his attempts to assume an air of neutrality. He was influential to our historic victory, but his constant attacks on government, culminating into the militia documentary, was most unfortunate. elaborate support to our friendly media. Lessons born out of the Manessa debacle cannot be glossed over. It proved that we cannot overly rely on a seemingly friendly media to take control of the communication space in the country. The NCA waivers we offered the Kent City media and other party affiliates over their licenses must continue. In 2021, KON, which is Kojo Upon Nkrumah, will present a comprehensive list of other radio stations that must be recruited into this fold. We have to issue receipts covering the next 10 years of as being payments of proposed renewals. Professor Adai has already received instructions from Nana to give tax waivers to the media entities that would be submitted to him. Kojo Upon Nkrumah is already making sure that about 90% of government advertisements go to the pro-MPP media. Same must be replicated in our next government. These lofty gestures would ensure that our friendly media houses consolidate financial reserves and use the power of financial capacity to outplay the NDC media in the ever-increasing competitive media environment. Wow. So, Bodienje ke okweno ni ete no, Bodienje oba na ke chale. Amakane last point, last nine mabo. Koni wangme ke wafe part 4. Reserving electronic communication frequencies to true party faithful. Gandangbe, benye na none woni kawanta of frequencies wona low because anake wo phone o sheki phone NDC be wa so bobi awunto. It is important to note that while supporting pro-MPP media will attract their loyalty and or support towards us, getting out and out party members to establish radio and TV stations would be a sure bet. Hessler has been instructed by Nana through Gabi to execute plan A of this plan. Undermining the plan is to allocate seized NDC frequencies to our members. Even if the original owners are willing to pay multiple of times, she is to refuse their renewal since dominance over money is our focal point. She is also supposed to reserve majority of the new frequencies to party members and who are loyal to the Nana brand. Due to the backlash in the revocation of radio and TV licenses, she must this time around identify party members who are already in the media houses and or those that the public sees as already reached. Gabi and Chema Wuntumi are part of the plan A, which continues till 2024 when the Nana campaign, so Asasi Radio, ke Wuntumi Radio, ke Wuntumi TV. You cannot tell me again this is fiction, Obaje mi wale lo. Wow. It is important to know that Kojo Upon Nkrumah will, among other strategies as the next communications, the only thing they check here still I may maintain Esla as the communications minister. Kojo Upon Nkrumah it works and housing. That is the only thing. But plan it the way now make male I execute le it is important to note that Kojo Upon Nkrumah will, among other strategies as the next communication minister, allocate frequencies which are close and can interfere with pro-NDC brands such as Class Media, Power FM, and the EIB platforms. Dr. Kopnadu for platforms across the country. We experimented same with Asasi 99.5 FM, which was close to Joy 99.7 FM. This is a subtle way to fight the NDC media who may have met all the regulatory requirements. The supersonic rise of the Angel Broadcasting Network, ABN, is worrying. So, Dr. Kwekuotin, come on now, I feel it. It appears our work at disabling the EIB, GN Media, and the ongoing efforts to do same with multimedia would be the end of the struggle. The increasing growth of Kweku Otin's media brand must be troubling. Gabby and Kendapa have already met Nana on the way forward in stopping the growing dominance of the ABN. The National Security has since dispatched officials to do a thorough forensic audit on all the businesses of Kokuotin. Oh, no, Biamini, and Captain Smart, Nasani, oh, no, Captain Smart, we are no quality. Bron aka no kwale ake lele government ameba bonu koko tin ake aba ko ni bi amene taxes ke ni bi nya aba hwe yin asini ke ko na aba close a businesses fin ona ake lele. The National Security has since dispatched officials to do a thorough forensic audit on all the businesses of Kokotin. In the event no adverse finding is discovered, we shall plant fake versions of his Adonko products on the market. Oh! I don't know mbafe no ka Dr. Kokotin no na me fefe ya no na ekpene na ehwe Captain Smart Captain Smart ya jamolo na me ya no the way ona na mbafe I make a fake Adonko products baba mami. I make a fake Adonko products baba mami. Unbelievable. We then have to use the same National Security and the FDA to arrest his production team in the full glare of the media, like we did to his Angel Natural Capsules, using our boys at FDA, even in opposition. People will stop buying his Adonko products, the major source of his wealth. So come on, they are willing to bring a Ghanaian businessman down. They don't care about Nuchumweni Bafite. They don't care. They don't care. Wow. Professor Adai has also been instructed by Kendapa to liaise with assigned national security operatives to spontaneously lock up almost all the ABN brands in the country. They are to accuse them of under-invoicing and cutting corners in repayment of taxes. The broadcast companies will remain locked up for about 3 months. This plan should be enough to completely halt the seeming dominance of ABN. Wow. Wow. Onim shishi. So body encheke ukwe o nake meneme dabi. Body enche o nake meneme. They are willing to go the extra mile to bring a Ghanaian businessman down. We. Jamie Sunday. Kula. I mean target le ebi you are target le come on. Francisca Otin must be asked from Parliament. Come on. There is no doubt that one reason that will make our fight against Kweku Otin is his daughter, who is the MP for Krabril East. Nana nearly made her a deputy minister for youth and sports, largely due to her age and her father's influence until the BNI report on her got to him. She seems to be pitching camp with Alan and ignorantly playing the Ashanti card. She will work against Dr. Baumier's bid after Nana. Although she lobbied for a deputy ministerial appointment, Nana only gave her the NYA board membership just to stop her father from complaining about his token for the 2016 campaign. Samia Wuku, John Bwedu and Chema Wuntomi have been tasked to ensure that she is contested and also loses the 2024 parliamentary primary of the party. In her stead, the current presiding member of Kwabri East, George Opon, soon to be a lawyer, or any other well-known Akuffo Addo supporter must be assisted to take over the seat by hook or crook. So, J. Dr. Otimpe, ebi yuwe I mean, yeah, no gidi. So, media sani no nkandi, ni bi na mefia me yaka mbafe media, come on. Kwame Sefakai versus Paul Adum Orchard and the future. It is an undeniable fact that the two gentlemen have become institutions in their respective rights, especially within the media circles. They are undoubtedly part of the pool of great brands the party shall fall on as we move into the future. While Sefakai appears relaxed and waiting for the right time, Paul seems apprehensive anytime Sefakai is brought into the picture. At the level of presidency, there appears to be a groundswell of support for Kwame over Paul anytime communication issues arise. The kitchen cabinet of Nana feels that Paul is equally known. He has credibility issues to deal with, especially on the conundrum surrounding his withdrawal from the Ghana Law School. Settling on him for the future would create credibility challenges for a ticket. In the next government, Nana will convince Sefakai to chair the NCA board. We believe that Paul is easily swayed by money. Hence, we cannot trust him for any sensitive position. Gabi has already agreed with Nana to move Paul from the NCA to the NMC, which he would be supported to chair. We believe that Paul, although may not be too excited about this prospect, he would gladly accept it as compensation for the work he has been doing for us, especially on Metro TV's Good Evening Ghana show. Let me just leave it here. Foundation work on your channel with the media and the rest. What about the last part? What bena ona boninchon. So anima aninka be it's been a lot of reading and so like I said, tomo benona bonincho ba nake look, a deliberate effort. A deliberate effort. Nyole Sania Chakiame. Ejake about 80% of the plan ni what can so far. I may effect like a plan ni wana. So bio yake keji ame ye ekon 2024 ne. With all the power. I may execute some of these things. Bio yake from 2024 le mini jono number fi. With 2024, I'm a year. Having all this power. No, I mean, only get chong when you chonshipon, sana chaki ame. I'm a one Ghana. No ko papa be, nambanya me fake wa Ghana. I'm back part of ma, na back part of ma here more. Ona bonin chon. So, like I said, sana fonshiki against time. Ngbeji ni tete obo biashon. Oyi wala don wa ake ofe be ni wasa wa na sani gba eko liake ni kan mo pie sometimes boring, but like I said sani wa na no ni ya no boni afe no shiki ne work afe mistake obanyo ko jomo chomo awo yue mo mfoni na hihia mi nkan de no fe no na ake wo je me obanyo send me voice note to ye WhatsApp ke osumoni ofe na kan e ba ngon na wa kan na esejeke 2 minutes sketch 2 minutes ona boni chon hani ojomo chomo aba ngwa fita jomo chomo konkloma yi boni afi ni mambie hu anabo ojomo chomo o ira don wa twa ni o manye juno afo no bye bye
baba is neat. Them say you want to chop my